Top of the morning, ladies and gentlemen. So, top of the morning, I am still drinking coffee. Pardon. And shout out to Muddy Hippie Pottery for this crazy looking cup. I love it. I don't think the camera's doing it justice. Anyhow, I had a comment left, and in that comment was a request from Lulu 13 M9V just a few days ago. And honestly, the comment was a little coded, but basically it seemed like they wanted to learn, and I say they because I don't know if it's a guy or a girl, but wanted to learn something in the key of E in a blues, which I gotta tell you, as much as that's like one of my favorite colors, I just tend to cringe when I hear that word. And even like some of the great players, I don't know, I don't listen to that music. But what I can do is communicate just some kind of basics in terms of blues. And by basics, I'm one of the things I mean is I think collectively, blues players and people that don't specifically play blues, one thing when people say, "Hey, we're going to play a blues in whatever key," what comes to mind is playing the one chord, the four chord, and the five chord. In the key, that would be in the key of E, that would be E. That's your one. And for this particular example, I'm just gonna just play two notes. If you know more, by all means, go for it. And then so 0 2, then directly down you could play 0 2 again to play an A. Still the A and the D, 2 and 4. That would be the B. You could have also played that A and B at 5 and 7 on the E and A, or and then 7 and 9 for the B. Let's also, why not, go ahead and look at one other spot, because this other spot is related to pretty much everything else, like any other key, which would be to play that E on 7 starting on the A. We could recycle any of the A and B's before, but why not? Let's look at a similar one here, much like the first. After that 7 on the A, we're going to go down and play 7 of the D for A, and then 9 would be the B. So another thing that just pops in my mind when I think about blues is da 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 da, like that rhythm. To me, it's that rhythm. Now, side note, a 1 4 5. I told you it's morning. I'm still drinking coffee. A 1 4 5 progression is really a lot. It's in a lot of genres, which I've said before. When you have the information, you can do what you will with it. I mean, take those same notes. Like, you're probably not going to refer to that as blues, but it's the same notes. But continuing on, I'm basically laying it out there in this particular lesson. I want to consider playing the 1 1 2 1 2 1 2, that rhythm. So in that E blues, 8-bar blues, I forgot to mention that. That's the other random in the equation of getting with a group of people and say, "Hey, we're playing a blues in E. How many bars is it?" We don't know, but typically I would play an 8-bar. So in that, I'm going to play the 1 or the E, 2 measures, the A, 1 measure, back to E for 1 measure, then the B or the 5 for 1 measure, down to the 4 again for 1 measure, back to the 1 for 1 measure, and then the B for 1 measure. All together sounds like this: 1 2 3 4. And that's that. Now, I gotta say, like that might be good enough in terms of what you were asking, but I'm or maybe what is of use to you right now. Like if you need to stop and like work on that, do it. I actually want to move on to another point that I was sharing with a student yesterday, actually, on this same subject, and that is we're gonna just play a lead line that leads us to the one, and I'm gonna do that by way of playing intervals 5, 6, and 1 to each chord. I.e., what that means is for the E, I would play 2, 4 on the A, and then finish on 2. For the, well, if we're staying in that position, we would just go directly down for the A and start on the D playing 2, 4, and then the 2 of the G. For the B, same concept. I just go forward 2 frets. It'd be 4, 6, 4. And kind of with that, depending on your skill set, it's like you could stop, YouTube search E blues and use those things I just showed you, those patterns I just showed you, along with the progression it gives you. Usually they tell you what order they're doing it in. And yeah, it'll work. Like you could just practice that by yourself. The next level, and also in that, I'm telling you, when you just search blues, 9.9 times out of 10, it's going to be a 1-4-5. There are some other ones that are used in blues, but it's usually 1-4-5. Coffee. Taking it to the next level, you could put those together though. Understanding, even if you're going to practice it with a practice track or something, understanding that the 5, 6 is like a pickup. So if we were starting from the beginning of the song, 1, 2, 3, 4, like you're playing that lick, before the downbeat, and in fact the last beat would be or last note is the downbeat of the chord. So combining the two, you might play something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. Something of that nature. And for this video, I'm going to leave that there. Same information applies higher. But if you made it this far, drop a comment and say, I made it. See you in the next one.